United hold Dembele talks, AC Milan consider Thauvin bid, Bayern look to emulate Barca, a transfer roundup, and today's Thursday favourites all coming up in the next few minutes as I'm your host Matt Froelich. You are the One Footballers and this is the Daily News. First up, and apparently Manchester United have entered talks with Ousmane Dembele about a loan deal to Manchester United. Of course, from Barcelona, where the winger hasn't really provided an amazing return on investment for all the money they paid to Borussia Dortmund a few years ago. There's been reports about his attitude, not turning up to training, is obviously always injured, and even under the Ronald Koeman era in the last few weeks, he didn't even turn up to training a few times. Again, this isn't 100% confirmed, it's just what we've been heard from reports in Spain. Anyway, for Manchester United, it's clear they've been looking for a right winger all summer by the name of Jadon Sancho, and they still and will not be able to bring him in from Dortmund this summer. So, a one-year loan deal for Ousmane Dembele actually kind of works. They're skipping out on paying the ridiculous fee that Dortmund want for Sancho and that Barcelona would want for Dembele. They're paying his wages for a year, yes, which Manchester United are used to paying high wages anyway. They're getting him on loan for maybe a small loan fee. And then next summer, when he goes back to Barcelona, that is apparently a more realistic time for them to go ahead and sign Sancho. So this deal kind of makes sense. It's just about whether or not they can actually convince Dembele to come. Apparently, the French winger has had quite a few offers this summer from the likes of Bayern Munich, Juventus and Liverpool, and has rejected them all because he sees his future at Barca. Very difficult to try and bring him away to Manchester United at the moment. Having said that, if he doesn't see himself getting into the first team squad for the season at Barca, which at the moment it doesn't necessarily look like he can, maybe Manchester United would actually be a good move. Next up, and to Serie A, where AC Milan are considering a bid for Marseille's Florian Thauvin. Now, he's been a brilliant servant to the club. In the last few years, he's played loads of games, scored loads of goals, and if you take away that 6-month spell at Newcastle, he's had a brilliant career. On top of this, he also won the World Cup for France in 2018. But he has 1 year left on his current deal, which is why apparently Marseille are willing to accept as little as 15 million for the attacking midfielder. His entourage have apparently spoken to Paolo Maldini and a few others at AC Milan about bringing him into the club, and this would represent a phenomenal deal. Not only because he's 27 years old, entering the prime of his career, he's a quality player, and it would boost what has already been a fantastic summer for AC Milan. Brahim Diaz has come in on loan. Ibrahimovic has signed another deal to stay with the club. Sandro Tonali has joined the team as well, and they've started the season with 2 wins out of 2. Things are looking up after what it seems like has been an eternity for AC Milan. I mean, all in all, since they last won the title, it's been a pretty shocking decade for the club, especially pulling out of European competition at the start of last season. So, Thauvin could join a project which is definitely on the way up, and things could be looking pretty rosy for the black and red half of Milan. Next up, and Bayern Munich are one step closer to emulating that legendary 2009 Barcelona side by winning all competitions in a year. Last night, Joshua Kimmich scored a decisive goal as Bayern beat Dortmund 3-2 in the German Super Cup, and it now means of all the 5 competitions they've entered in the year 2020, they've won all 5. They won the Bundesliga, they were brilliant in the DFB Pokal, which is the German Cup, they smashed the Champions League, they beat Sevilla in the UEFA Super Cup, and now beating Dortmund means they have just one trophy left to conquer, and that is the Club World Cup. Oddly enough, because of the current situation around Corona, I'm not so sure whether this competition will actually go ahead, considering you're taking in teams from the whole world. That brings in a danger in itself with the virus. So if that doesn't happen this year, technically Bayern can't do it. But I think we'll give the Super Cup to them anyway as a 2020 Super Cup, regardless if it happens now or a few months into the new year. It would mean they win 6 out of 6, and they've got to be up there. To be honest, with that Barcelona 2009 side, Guardiola and Messi in that era were ridiculous. They were so good, they were smashing teams, they were comfortably dominating the game, the style of play, and winning matches and trophies, and that's exactly what Bayern are doing. It's going to be a tough debate between those two. You guys let me know in the comment section below which team is better. Next up then, in the quick roundup of the rest of the day's transfer news you might have missed, and Liverpool are apparently going to accept a £23 million offer from Sheffield United for their forward Ryan Brewster. Next up, Lucas Paqueta has completed a deal to Lyon from AC Milan for around £20 million. Carlos Vinicius, the Benfica forward, is close to seeing a loan move to Tottenham. And lastly but not least, Ademola Lookman is back in the Premier League after joining Fulham on a loan deal from RB Leipzig. Finally then, we come to this week's Thursday favourites. This is where you guys ask me 5 of my favourite things in football in the comment section down below. And this one from Vihan Depp. He has said, Matt, who are your 5 favourite transfer deadline day signings. Of course, with just a few days to go until transfer deadline day, which is on Monday the 5th of October. First off, Marouane Fellaini. I know what you're thinking, Matt, that's absolutely ridiculous. You're damn right it's ridiculous, but think of all the fun that Fellaini's brought us over the years. I mean, not only has he been a great player to watch, not necessarily always great, but certainly entertaining for a multitude of reasons. But he was actually really, really good for Everton before he moved to Manchester United. In fact, joining from Standard Liège, he had a fantastic run of form under David Moyes, so much so that he decided to bring him to Old Trafford. Next up, and Luis Suarez. Now, you're probably be surprised that I'm not just going for Tottenham players here, because I wanted to make it a little bit more interesting. Luis Suarez to Liverpool on deadline day completely overshadowed the fact that they also signed Andy Carroll at exactly the same time. Suarez was brilliant for Liverpool. Exciting on the pitch, fantastic flair, ability, speed, the goals are insane. And then he made them a ridiculous profit of around 42 million when he eventually moved on to Barcelona. Next up, and one that's just there basically for his first press conference, and it's absolutely hilarious, and it's Robinho. Back when Manchester City first got taken over, they were promised a lot of money and big signings, and boy did they deliver. They gave Mark Hughes a present on the deadline day many years ago, and that present was Robinho for 32.5 million from Real Madrid. Insane. I know what you're thinking. How did they get him to agree to that? Well, turns out Robinho thought he was going somewhere entirely different. In his first press conference, he said he's delighted to be at Chelsea, which is definitely not the team he was signing for, then said, Manchester. Reports have it, when he heard Manchester, he thought Manchester United. Turns out he ended up being at Manchester City, and in all honesty, that's one of the biggest flops in transfer history. Again, going to Manchester under Mark Hughes, who didn't really have much experience of dealing with these massive players as a manager. Robinho was playing with players who were definitely worse than he was. He left Real Madrid for this. It's a poor career move, but it's definitely one of my favourite transfer deadline day transfers. In second place, and it's Wayne Rooney. A fantastic deal for Manchester United to bring him in from Everton, and he left back to Everton as Manchester United's highest goal scorer of all times with 11 trophies to his name, and an England legend. Definitely didn't deserve all the hate he got at international level, and for Manchester United, he was brilliant. Played a multitude of roles, both on and off the pitch, scored insane goals, a Premier League legend, a Manchester United legend, and a pretty good deal to get through on transfer deadline day. Lastly but not least, and actually, talking of gifts from Real Madrid like the Robinho one this was an absolute steal, and if any chairman can pull it off, it's Daniel Levy. Rafael van der Vaart moved to Tottenham on transfer deadline day in September 2010 for just 8 million. 8 million from Real Madrid. He spent 2 years at the club and was absolutely insane. Like one of the best players Spurs have ever had. Still a legend there, and because he was just a cut above the rest of the team, and it was clear to see why. So many goals, an insane link up with Peter Crouch and Gareth Bale, and just some magic moments for the Dutch midfielder. So there you have it, 5 of my favourite transfers of all time. Some of them were great, some of them are absolutely terrible, but you guys let me know yours in the comment section below, along with your thoughts on the rest of today's daily news. Whilst you're at it, you can smash the like button and click here or here to check out all of the other videos we've got going on Onefootball. But until next time, I will see you guys later.